So, we've been going through these discovery calls. They've been great lately, the ones we've been having lately. But I started to reflect on some of the ones we've had in the past, like a while ago, when folks were coming that just kind of were all over the place. And
I remember that season.
I mean, sometimes we have folks that literally had they're telling me they want to go through like a rebrand or a redesign. And, they showed me some of their sites and some of their graphics and all these different things that they currently had. And I saw like 4 or 5 different logos, for like the same business. And I wasn't sure like which one was the current one. And they were like, oh, I'm still working on it. This one's cool, but I'm open to changing it again. I'm like, whoa, like that's a lot.
That is a whole lot because it can confuse your audience.
Yeah.
When you like what you were saying about socials, if your social media looks one way, your website looks another way, and then you have different logos in your email, the email can look like spam and people just get confused.
They get confused. You got different logos. Sometimes they got different colors. It's like, what's your color palette? They're like, well, what's that? I don't have one. And then there's their website, may have like a maroon feel. Then their offers each have like, one has like a green, one's like yellow, one's blue. It's like, is this the same person? Is it the same company? Like,
well, we need to talk about it because those people need help and we're here to help them.
Yes. I mean, fonts all over the place. I mean, it just, it's a lot to deal with. And it needs to be cohesive, and we want to help people out because I think the question people keep asking us, or not keep asking, but have asked us before, and we give them the same answer. But the question is, does it have to be consistent? Does all this have to match? Man, I want you to answer that. I know you laugh. See, I know you laughing, but I'm serious because some people thinking to themselves, does all this have to match?
Of course it does. That's, that's your brand.
Yes.
It has to be cohesive. Of course it has to match.
Okay, well, let's break that down for them and tell them why it has to match.
Okay, let's do it.
This is the brand. This is the voice. This is the pay. They move by choice. Charles and John say we don't chase trends. Brand currency where purpose begins.
Welcome to the Brand Currency Podcast, where we break down branding and design in a way that actually makes sense for your business. My name is Charles McGill. I'm your host, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host.
Hi, I'm John C. McGill, his wife and partner in business.
Yeah, so we going to break this down, guys, today. We going to talk about, whether or not this stuff should match, right? That's the question. People be like, it's okay, like, going through different things, and so it's okay if all that stuff's out there because people can see my transition.
Yeah, but people don't need to see the transition. They don't need to see that your brand or you are going through something.
She said going through something. Yeah, I mean, I get it, right? Because, and I think about it like, so the way we want to get our cues from big corporations, right? People who have spent millions of dollars researching these things, doing things the right way in terms of marketing, in terms of brand, spending not only just a lot of money in it, but also time. Like, these big brands have been around for 30 years, 40, 50, like a long time. And so they leave clues in terms of how they have, but from, relatively a small startup sometimes to this big conglomerate that's everywhere across the world. And, you got to ask yourself if it makes sense for Nike to carry this logo for, I don't know how many years, 30, 40, 60,
decades.
Whatever it is. If it makes sense for them to just do that little check, right?
And
the swoosh
ain't changed. Been the same. It's the same thing decades later. They don't make little enhancements. There's no like little, flowers coming out of it or a lighthouse or
and maybe if they do something like it's an intentional brand partnership with something else.
Yeah, or a campaign.
And it's a campaign. Yeah, exactly.
Specific thing.
Very specific thing. But they're not going through those iterations. And even if they did go through an iteration, and I remember we did an episode about like Walmart and their iteration of their logo. It's like, hey, we're changing the logo and here's an announcement. And then what are they going to do? Are they going to leave the logo? They're going to change it maybe just in their new stores? Or what are they going to do?
Man, they changed that thing so fast. I saw it like immediately after they announced it. I saw it on trucks driving by.
Everywhere.
On all the stores. Immediately.
Immediately. All the graphics, all the stores, all the outside, their plastic bags, like
everything.
Everything. The app. It all changed.
Everything.
They don't want you to remember the old one.
Right.
They changed. So now you get to see the new one. And it's all consistent. Now, I'm sure it costs a lot of money to do that.
Yes.
Think about that. Like all of a sudden now they're like, oh, stop. No more of the old logo. Everything must have the new logo.
Yeah, because the signage is expensive. Rewrapping the trucks is expensive. The branding company that they hired to develop the new logo and, you know, the new font, that was definitely expensive. So it's like, you know.
It's an expense.
Yeah.
So why would a big company like that choose to do that? What do you think, babe? What do you think the obvious answer is?
There might be a few.
Okay.
But one is they want to just kind of refresh, you know, their audience.
Yes.
And let the new wave of audience be attracted to the new logo.
They're attracting new people.
They're trying to attract, I think they're trying to attract like a younger crowd too. But I don't know if it's working.
Okay. Well, in general, the main reason why people decide to do something like that and they will invest all that money in changing is because there is a return on their investment.
Oh, most definitely.
That's the only reason why they would do it. Like the primary reason, right? It's not just because like vanity, like they just want to look or someone got tired of it.
Right.
Not because they're like, you know, I'm just tired of seeing this logo all the time. I want something different. No.
No.
That ain't it. They do the research and they figured out that, hey, if we are going to try to go after this new market share, right, trying to capture this new audience, we need to update our look.
Right, because the new logo actually looks better in digital formats.
It does.
Like
Absolutely.
on the app or, you know, on the website, in their ads, it looks a lot better than the old one.
It
so
does.
That's, you know, that's what they're trying to do.
That's what they're trying to do. And so when we think about our own companies, right, and we're like, okay, how do we make sure we're consistent? We have to make sure that our logos, right, is the same across every medium, every platform, no matter social media, website, graphics, in person,
your
whatever.
Tablecloth, all that.
All that. Your fonts are consistent. Like you have a brand guide that anchors your brand. So you know what fonts to use. You know what colors to use. Your colors are consistent, right, across all platforms, because you want to make sure it has the same vibe, right? You also want to make sure from a branding perspective that you have the same voice, right? The same tone, right? The same messaging, the same type of design, right? This is important because it lets people know, it makes people feel safe.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, because you think about that consistency.
It makes people trust you more.
It makes people trust you more. Absolutely. Because it'd be, I think about like this in like real time experiences. Like if you, like I gave an example from another episode of like Raising Cane when we had first heard of that restaurant. And I went to the website and I looked at it and I was like, this website looks like, you know, like, man, it looks like they've been in business for a while. We had never heard of them. And they were new, coming new to California or the area, the city that we were in. And never heard of them, but people in the South, of course, here, you know, in Atlanta now, of course, Raising Cane, everybody knew about Raising Cane. But there, I hadn't heard of it.
Yeah.
And they had, their website was awesome, right? The branding was really on point. So I was like, man, I don't know what this restaurant is, but it looked like it's good. Like, let people really like it. They opened up and the storefront looked just like the website.
It was consistent
across the board. Font, branding, colors, logo, everything's the same, right? And what did that do? That let us know, and also the messaging, right? The whatever their slogans are, were all the same. And what did that do? That it just made people feel like this is a legit, even though we've never heard of it. This fast food, it must be on point because they're on point. And yeah, it all came together. Because people trust that consistency, and it's a subconscious thing, right? It's not necessarily something that like you're gonna openly, like everyone's gonna know. Like I'm talking about now because I'm a branding person, right? So of course I pay attention to those things. Other people don't, but they can feel it subconsciously,
and they can't necessarily express it, but they will definitely have a feeling around it. And you know, sometimes if the feeling's off, or if they're looking at something and it's off, they're not going to move forward. They're not going to buy or anything like that. So, you know, you have to be aware and, you know, conscious of how people look at your brand.
100%. Do you think that that's something that only us adults think about, or do you think that even children can pick up on it?
What? Of course children can pick up on it. That's why we have Disneyland, you know? Right. Because, you know, they see, you know, all their favorite characters and all that messaging, the happiest place on earth, you know, so that plays into people of all ages.
Yeah.
I think about like my great aunt. She was, you know, God rest her soul, but I lived with her for a little while I was in college, and she always had to have a Coca-Cola. She didn't want any other brand, any other, you know, flavor or soda or anything like that. She had to have her Coca-Cola and her certain type of bread. And if you get a different type of bread, she would not eat it. She'd be like, go back to the store, give me the one that I want. People, you know, they get to build relationships with brands, and that can last for years and years and years, because she was, you know, kept buying the same thing for years, because she knew, if I buy this, I know how it's going to taste.
Exactly.
I know how it's going to make me feel, and that's what I want, and I'm good with it.
Yeah. I think about, like, see, to your point, like Disney and all that stuff, like imagine if people weren't like whoever is in charge was allowing people to draw Mickey Mouse different ways. Right? Not picking up on the details, and he's showing up in every episode or every whatever, just looking slightly different. Right? They're changing the colors up.
We'd be like, who is this Mickey?
Is this? What Mickey
this is not the Mickey I know. Character I've come to know and love and trust.
Right? Mickey, you can think about any of those, like, you know, Mario Brothers. And then what happens is, why does that matter? Because when you look at it in totality, you're like, okay, I can take this brand, I could take this figure, this image, whatever that people really are attracted to, and I can now place it in different places, and people will trust it again. Because you could take that Mickey Mouse brand or Sonic the Hedgehog or whatever and go, you know, let me put this on a McDonald's box. Let me put this on a cereal box. Let me put this on a t-shirt or whatever. And that same trust gets transferred over.
Because the kids will come flocking.
That's right. Adults too, but you'll know. Here's proof and point. How do you know when you buy a knockoff of something like that? Like if you were to go,
the quality won't be the same.
Like it looked like somebody drew it, and they wouldn't work for Disney,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I'm thinking about like the flea market or something like that. Like when I was growing up, you know what I mean? Like you trying to get something based on somebody you like, you know, like a character or whatever, and you go you know, your parents take you some discount place. They're like, oh, they got it right there. They ate that so and so.
But Mickey's ears are smaller.
Yeah, you like
something. Something ain't right.
That ain't right. Like, that's not the same. You know, and you don't want to buy it. You don't trust it, right? Because it ain't consistent. And we do that as adults, right? We do that as adults. I remember too. You know, I give these analogies, but it happens in our business as well. We got to think about it, how it's applicable for the things that we offer, how it's applicable for the things that we, you know, promote. But I think about, like, over the years. Like, we going back to McDonald's, you know, McDonald's we haven't been nice to McDonald's, but when I think about, like, I remember when I used to eat there frequently, and then, like, I stopped, but then, you know, you come back every so often to eat, and then you notice, like, all the burgers got smaller. You know what I'm saying? Like, or let's say you eating I don't know, whatever kind of snack.
Or they're putting extra ice in your drink and not giving you as much of your beverage.
Man, there's so many stuff that people do or companies do that lead to that inconsistency, and then it subconsciously messes with you, and you start to think, man, I don't know if I can trust this thing anymore because they switched it up on me, right?
It's not the same experience I've been having.
Not the same experience.
So maybe something's going on. They're changing.
Exactly. And that inconsistent branding, you know, it makes people pause. And when people pause and they have that hesitation, that often kills your sales. And that's something that people need to be thinking about as, small business owners. So, where do you think the inconsistency shows up for small business owners? Like, they're saying, okay, Charles, we hear you what you're saying, but what do you mean? I feel like I'm pretty consistent. Where have you seen it show up?
Well, since you asked, I see it all the time when people, let's say, they have a campaign that they're doing and they, try to rush it out without really like planning and strategizing through, what people will experience, when they're introduced to that campaign. So they just kind of slap together the graphics and it just doesn't look polished. It doesn't look, like, oh, this person usually does, puts out some really nice looking things that I usually like to attend or whatever. And then you have that and it's like, maybe they're falling off.
It could look like that, right? It could look like they're definitely falling off if it doesn't look as good as the other stuff. Also, it'd be mismatched. You know what I mean? You got some designs that are all mismatched. You got like different agencies working on the same campaign, different VAs in-house. You try to, so everybody got to own their own style. Everyone using their own font. Everyone using their own colors. Everyone's doing their own thing. And it starts to look crazy, all together. Because the consumer is looking at it and they're seeing ads that look one way. And then they see your social media posts. And then they may go to your website and that looks different because it's done by somebody else.
Have ads that look one way and then they click the link and go to the sales page, they're going to be like, oh, is this the same thing?
It's the same thing? Yeah. Did I click the wrong link?
Is this
exactly. Is it different color?
And that happens a lot.
Lot.
A whole lot.
Yo, when that sales page looks different, it really does confuse the mind. So when we design a Panic Commission, that's one thing we do. We always say, we tell our customers, we need to create a design anchor. So like if you're going to do a campaign and we're building a website, we're doing graphics, we're doing all this different stuff, what's the design anchor? Sometimes we'll design the promotional flyer first, the graphic, and we'll say, okay, based on this, we'll create the website design and everything else will be based on how this looks. Or sometimes we'll create the sales page first and say, okay, based on the sales page, everything else will look like this. But we intentionally do that. And we make sure that we remind the client too, like, hey, you want to keep this consistent. I remember we had one that was a new client, and they asked us to do a campaign. And so we provided the client 3 different options for what the campaign could look like. And we said, okay, the design anchor will be this sales page. And so there was 3 different sales pages that we did and said, choose one, right? And they were like, we like them all. And I'm like, okay, that's cool, but choose one. You know what I mean? They're like, well, and we didn't have the time to split test because we could have split tested, but they're like, just go with, they said, you choose. So I was like, we're going to go with this one, and then we'll make all our other designs based on this one. And so they were like, okay, cool. But then as we were moving on, they were like, hey, I really like the other designs as well. Can you include some graphics that look like those other designs as well? And we're like, because the thing is, what's tricky about that is we're like, we can, but we have to make sure there's a through line, that there's a consistency between how these other ones look and how this one looks. We figured it out, but we're the type of agency that will do that. A lot of people aren't even thinking about that. They're not thinking about it looking consistent. They're like, yo, we just need to put it together. We need to just put it out there. Right?
Oh, to put it out there. Just put it out there.
Man. But if you have all that and it looks, you got your emails going out, that looks different. The banner looks different. That promotion looks different. It just, it's giving, what is it giving, babe?
It's giving confusion.
It's giving confusion.
It's giving rush.
That's
giving, do they need some money or something? What's going on? That's what it's giving.
It don't look put together. Right. And I just feel like there's so many times where we are judging people this way. We're not being honest. And I don't know why in the online space we're not honest with our friends and families, and not friends and family, but our colleagues.
Yes.
To be like, yo.
Because they're, it's like, what Erykah Badu said, I'm an artist.
I'm an artist.
And I'm sensitive about my stuff. And so people are sensitive about their appearance. They're sensitive about how they look, how they present in person and also online. Yeah. So when you tell somebody, maybe you should change something or do something a little different. Yeah. They'll feel some type of way.
And you're right. And the thing is,
we don't want to hurt people's feelings.
We don't. And they also, you're making me kind of think about it. most of the time it's a personal thing. Like, it feels personal to them because they either did it themselves, so they spent the hours in it, or they paid someone to do it, and it feels like, maybe it's close to what they want. So for someone to come along and let them know that it needs improvement and that it's not that great, that probably could hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about it like, just like similarly, like you maybe you went to the closet, you thought you put that thing together, right? You thought your outfit was doing its thing. You looked in the mirror, you was like, yeah, they gonna like this, man. Like, oh man. And you get out there, I'm about to stun on them. You get out there and they like, that ain't it. That remind me of you remember that one video where Safari he was rapping. He was on a Breakfast Club with Charlamagne. Do you remember that? You probably don't remember that. Anyway, what? Safari, he asked Safari to rap. Safari, Safari? Yeah. Nicki Minaj's, whatever. So asked him to rap, and he thinking he going in. He, la 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 la, and he thought he like had bars, right? And then he finished, and everyone was just quiet.
Oh no!
And Charlamagne was like, "Yeah, that ain't it, bro." Like, that is the most hilarious thing, and I feel like,
but that's sad too, because Safari was probably feeling some type of way about that.
I think he has written rhymes, allegedly, I guess. Written rhymes for Nicki.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So he probably felt like, he's like, hey, she out there selling millions. Those are my bars. Like, but it ain't. That ain't it.
That wasn't it. Sometimes it's a hit. Sometimes it's a miss.
Yeah.
And we need to be honest.
We need to be honest. That's the point.
When they miss.
That's right. Because that's how people get better. Right? Because, I mean, there's nothing wrong with having confidence and thinking that your stuff is good. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with thinking that your website that you spent hours doing and all that stuff came out really well. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Huh.
But sometimes we just got to be honest and let people know, like, that ain't.
Yeah, it's like when you change your profile picture, right? Maybe you lost a little weight, you got a new hairdo, and you look a little different, and people like, wait, is that still them?
Yeah. Well, okay. Let's be. See, you didn't really fully say what you wanted to say. I think what you wanted to say was when you changed that pic to that AI pic. That's what you wanted to say. Yo, obviously, hey, listen.
I want this wave to be over. Like, that ain't you. If I'm looking at this AI picture, and then I meet you in person, it's like, or like a super airbrushed, like, totally not that person. And that happens to be so often, Charles. People be like, "Oh, you're gonna be at this event."
Yeah.
And then I go, to the event, and somebody comes up to me and they're like, "Hey, Chauncey," and I'm like, "That's not them. I was expecting that picture.
Wow.
I don't recognize them."
Wow.
So,
but I mean, to each their own. You know what I mean? I mean, if they're getting away with it, I always look at it like, what's the outcome, right? So. To determine whether or not it's worth it or if that's a good decision, are you getting the outcome that you expected? Just like your website. If your website, people could have the opinion that they don't think it looks good, but if it's getting you sales and it's converting, then it's doing what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
So if that person maybe they catfishing folks, but
like Catfish brand, Lord have mercy.
Hey, if it's working, I'm not mad at it.
So if you're not trying to have a catfish brand, listen to our sponsors. Be honest. Does your website actually reflect the level of work you do? Or do you quietly pray no one asks you for your link? If your online presence is making you look less professional than you are, it's time for a reset, and we've made it easy. Introducing the Divine Redesign Movement by Panda Commission. For just $100, we'll create a custom mock-up of a premium website or sales funnel. No commitment, no pressure. You'll get a stunning strategic preview of your new site, built by real designers, not cookie-cutter templates. In under a week, you'll know exactly what your brand could look like when it's working for you. If you love it, we build it. If not, you walk away. Simple. But fair warning, your next client is already judging your digital first impression. Don't let outdated design be the thing that costs you the sale. Spots are limited. Claim your $100 mock-up now at mydivineredesign.com. Panda Commission, premium design for your business at every stage. So how are some ways people can fix all those inconsistencies and fix their brand? And, sometimes people just need a little guidance, Charles. So give the people a little guidance. What can they do?
First thing that you can do to fix it is establish a brand guide. Like, to get consistent, right? That's what we're talking about, being consistent. You got to establish a brand guide.
Yes.
That brand guide is your foundation, it's your anchor to let people know, that you know, and anyone else who works on your brand, what fonts they should be using, what colors they should be using, which logo they should use, how to use it. Like, because some people, they have logos, they have primary logos, or full mark, we call it. That includes your logo mark, your logo, the icon, what it looks like, that logo, that symbol thing, and then the word mark, which is the words. So all together, that combined is your full logo mark, right? And so you can have alternative logos. So you can have a logo that's horizontal. You can have a logo that's vertical. You can have a logo that includes, the logo mark and the full word mark, or maybe just half of the, the word. So sometimes you have a brand that says something like, they got the logo mark, which is the icon, and then the word mark will say something like, Johnson and Co. And then on the bottom of that, it'd be like, your tagline, best plumbers in the world. That'll be like your full logo mark, right? And then you could have alternatives where it's just the logo mark and the word mark. So it's just the logo, and then it just says Johnson and Co. and that's it. But that can look different because since we're trying to fit that tagline in there, it's going to be sized differently. I don't want to get too technical, but basically there's different ways that the logo will show up depending on the medium. So for example, like, if I'm going to have, like a logo for like the shirt, we got our logo on it. This is the Panda logo for our brand Panda Commission. I could have put the full logo mark on. If I didn't know what I was doing, I know how to design it. I might have put the full thing on there. But if I put the full thing on there, that may not look that good because it's supposed to fit on my sleeve, and you may not be able to see the whole thing.
Right.
So you'd be confused. You'd be looking at it.
Look like PandaCon.
Yeah, PandaCon.
People
exactly.
think we're a communications
like,
company.
What does that say? And so, yeah. And some people are like, I did it on purpose. Like, nah, it's not supposed to be like that. Right. So we have it like this so it looks, stylish. And, if people are curious, they'll ask, what brand is that? That's what they'll usually ask. They see something like that. They'll be like, what brand is that? You see the logo.
That happens when I wear just the panda on a hat.
Exactly.
People are like, oh, the hat is fire. Where'd you get that from?
Yeah. What brand is that? Exactly. So anyway, but you establish with the brand guide the way to use all of your branding elements, right? And so that's what it's for. And even if you don't, like, brand guides sometimes can be 5 pages up to 8 pages. They can also
include
a single page. They can be, but you can include other things like a mood board on it, where you're giving designers like images in terms of like how you want to show up in different spaces. If you have a luxury look, a modern look, a rustic look, all these different things.
The aesthetics of your brand.
Exactly. So all that can be in a brand guide. So it can be very, thorough and drawn out, or it can be pretty simple, like a 1-pager where it's just literally the font, the colors, and the logo, and that's it. So you could do that. One other thing that you can do to kind of help yourself is to establish some templates. Right? Some custom styled templates for your brand. I think about social media. I think about, banners. I'm thinking about like even your website, making sure that you have a foundation design wise that will easily, like, for whoever's using it, they can easily recreate your look and feel without having to think through it.
Yeah, that's really good, Charles, because templates, like, even if you are trying to figure out, oh, I need to hurry up and put something out, at least you'll have that to fall back on that's branded and looks good that you can, put out if you don't have time to get something professionally designed.
Absolutely. Those templates are like a fail-safe. Like, it's really hard to mess them up. You can mess them up. And
I see people mess them up.
Oh, yeah. Because
you have to edit yourself too.
Exactly. Because Canva has templates. And sometimes people will start with one template, and then by the time they're finished with it, looks nothing like the one they started with. That's a mistake. Most of the time, that template that you saw on Canva and you're using, you are attracted to it for a certain reason. Mm-hmm. You should try your best to keep the design integrity. This is a word we use, design integrity. Keep it by not changing too much of what it looks like. And I understand sometimes, like, well, I got to fit my copy. I got to fit my words in. I got to fit my brand in it.
I have to fit my whole sales page in it.
It was like, no, actually, you should edit yourself to where you can still keep the design integrity, because for the purpose of that, like, promotional graphic, it's likely more important that people will stop their scroll, become interested, and be interested enough to actually click on the caption or click on the link in the caption to go to your page. That's more important than them trying to necessarily get all the information they need on that one flyer.
Yes.
Yeah. I've had to tell clients that too, because they'll ask us for like YouTube thumbnails, right? Or they'll ask us for different things, promote, and I'm like, and they want to fit so much stuff on that one thing. And they're like, well, why doesn't my thumbnail look like the reference I provided you? And we're like, we can make it look like that, but notice the reference has 2 words. Yours has 14. So there's just no way that we could really make it look like that with all of these words. You know, well, I don't want to chop down my words. Well, we got to use a different reference, or it's just going to look different. So that's one thing people can, need to be thinking about. But, overall, when you're trying to be consistent, you got to make sure that you really pick your lane, like stay in your lane, figure out what you're trying to do.
Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane.
When it comes to design, that's a bar right there. People need to remember, when it comes to design, stay in your lane. When it comes to your brand and the branding, all the stuff you're putting out, stay in your lane.
What does that mean to you?
That means, in other words, be consistent.
There you go. I want to make sure people understand it.
Okay.
Yes.
The road of consistency. That's right. The lane of consistency.
Yes. It's not, even though it's your brand, you technically do whatever you want. But if you're trying to attract the most amount of people, you're trying to get the most amount of clients or attract the right people, the consistency is what is going to help you. Right. And if you can't do it yourself, we strongly suggest that you hire somebody. Right?
Hire Panda Commission.
Yeah, hire us, right? That's right. If you really do, hire us. But if you for whatever reason don't work with us, make sure that whoever you're working with is someone who understands how to be consistent, understands brand, who understands these things, who has that eye of consistency, who's looking for those things to be like, I don't know if this is right. Let's make sure that we do this, or that can edit you, kind of give you feedback. Because, we've dealt with some people who be all over the place, and they want us to be all over the place. They want us to join them.
In the over the place party.
Oh, man.
All over the place party.
They like, and the thing is, to a degree, they're paying us to do work. So, we'll do the work. But we are also the type of agency that will give feedback and say, hey, we noticed that you want this. It looks completely different than the other thing. But it's the same brand. That we want to, just kind of raise a flag here to say, hey, you may not want to do it this way.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we want that design to convert.
There it is.
So a lot of people, when they're designing, aren't necessarily thinking about, how will this look when they start to market their offer or whatever. So, you have to be aware of things like that.
Yeah, you got to be aware. You got to be aware of that. And I love that you say that, because that's what separates us from a lot of other agencies and freelancers. We're thinking about the marketing. We're thinking about the branding. We're thinking about the design. We know that all those things are different. And we're thinking about how you are positioned to make sure that you're maximizing your conversions.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Brand consistency, that is what builds the familiarity. That's what allows people to trust you. The familiarity, right? What's that saying? Game recognized game. Right? Game recognized game. And if you looking unfamiliar, I ain't giving you my money. You know what I mean? That's the way it is. And I think about it whenever you and I go to like different towns, and different trips, we're always we like to have new experiences in new restaurants. But I know, like, when we go into a place, there's certain things that you and I look for. We look for, is anybody eating there? That's one thing that we always look for, right?
How many cars are in the parking lot?
And that joint is empty. And it's 8:00 at night. Like, what is going on? It must not be that good of food, because it should be popping, right? It should be lit, right? But so that's one other thing we look at. Because if it's a long line and there's a lot of people, we're like, okay, this must be good. But we also look at, the decor. We look at how clean it is. We look at the menu, right? We look at all that, how people treat us, the experience. All of that is determining whether or not we're going to spend money here.
Exactly.
And if you're looking crazy, guess what?
We're going to keep it moving.
That's right. We out. And that's the way it works oftentimes online for people. And they just got to understand that. They got to understand that.
Yeah. And they also have to understand that it doesn't have to be fancy. You know, people always think, oh, I don't want anything fancy. I don't need fancy design for my brand. It's not about the fancy.
That's right.
It's about being consistent. So, your brand, wherever you show up, whether it's online, in person, or, whatever campaign you're running, it's consistent.
That's right. And your brand isn't just how it looks, it's how it feels. Right. And that's what people gotta understand. It's that feeling that you get, when they see your logo, what's that feeling that they get? Right. When they hear your, whatever it is, what's the feeling that they get? Because, the feeling being consistent, that's what really matters. And as far as you having a consistent experience, that is what leads to the sales. That's what leads to people having a good feeling about your brand, wanting to come back to your brand, creating that brand loyalty, is when you understand that it's not just about the aesthetics, it's about how you make people feel and the experience you give them. You combine all that and you're intentional and you're consistent, and that's how you get the money.
And if you want to get to the money or more money, hit us up at Panda Commission.
Yes, we would love to have you. We would love for you to join our Panda family. It's easy to do it. You can go to pandacommission.com, check out our website, look at our different things that we got going on, see how consistent or inconsistent we are. I bet you're going to see some consistency. Now, we're not perfect. There's definitely some areas probably that, we need to clean up just like anybody else. And you know what? I challenge you. If you find something that you think is inconsistent, go ahead and put it in the comments. Let us know. And I bet you we will fix it. And if you want us to work on your stuff, we can work on your stuff as well. You can follow us at Panda Commission on all the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. If you like what you heard, like this episode, subscribe to our channel. And, hey, we would love for you to become a part of our Panda family.
Your content looked as good as your offer. Introducing Panda Market, your new secret weapon for scroll-stopping content. We've got done-for-you Canva templates that are bold, beautiful, and built to convert. No more wrestling with design. Just drag, drop, post, and watch your brand glow up. New templates drop every month, so your content never gets stale. Get yours now at thepandamarket.com. Your feed will thank you.